5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Minister. Minister, in May of 22, you said the following: fostering bilingualism is a personal priority for me. I think we can make inroads on this problem by working hard to increase Francophone immigration. So obviously language is important to you, and it's important to me also, and that's why I'm concerned that there is no language requirement for the new citizens that will be created by C3. So can you assure Canadians that people getting citizenship through this pathway will be able to speak either French or English?
Chair, of course, language is very important to me, and what is also very important is having Canada's both official languages here, obviously in Parliament, but across the country. This is citizenship by right. It is a right that we are restoring to people. Again, a number of those people will be infants and children, and my hope is they would be speaking both of Canada's official languages and perhaps a third, fourth language as well.
Okay, I would just point out, though, that the courts are not the ones that are making this bill. This is your bill. You're creating this bill, and you are the one that's creating the mechanisms by which to become Canadian. So you have the option to put language into this bill, and you're right, if children are doing it, that's fine, they don't have to do it. But what about older people that come? So that's what concerns me about this, is that there's no thought in this to getting language in here. And the other thing there is that I'm concerned about is that there's no requirement to take a citizenship test. So are you confident that these new Canadians you're proposing to create will understand Canadian values? And how is that fair if they aren't?
So Canadian values, that's exactly why this bill is in front of us, is to protect those Canadian values, is to ensure that people who want to be Canadians because they value being a Canadian are allowed to be Canadian. It's to give back and to restore that right to many that have lost it. There's also the substantial connection test that is extremely important. We are here to right a wrong, and that is exactly why we're
Minister,
here today.
What are the Canadian values?
What are the Canadian values? Obviously, one of them is protecting our official languages in this country. It is, helping each other. I mean, our Canadian values are human values.
If it's protecting our languages, why is that not in the bill? I'm surprised by that. But I'm also concerned about another thing, and that is that there is no security check of any kind in this pathway. So we know that in every pathway to citizenship, a certain percentage of people fail our security checks and then are denied citizenship because of that. And your transition binder specifically talked about increasing scrutiny resulting in higher refusal rates. So some of these people will for sure have security problems and even criminal records. And admitting safe and secure people is paramount to Canadians. So are you okay that this law will grant citizenship to people with criminal records?
So this law will give citizenship to people who have lost it or people who should have had it anyway. If it's the same bill that was introduced in 2009, 2015 as well, with regards to that.
So to be clear, though, you're saying that it's okay.
And many of them are children.
It's okay to allow people to have citizenship if they have criminal records, and we're not going to check that.
So again,
point of order.
Yes, I'll stop the clock. Point of order.
This bill deals with people who are not yet born. How can an unborn person have a criminal record?
That's not a point of order. I'm sorry.
Yeah, point of order, actually, on this Liberal who keeps interrupting us and trying to silence us. He knows better. I was told he's been an MP for 10 years or something. He knows better than to interject with debate during my colleague's time on inanities.
Thank you, Ms. Rempel-Gardner. Mr. Redekop will restart the time. Thank you.
So if we do have children, that's fine. They should easily pass the security test. But what about those who are older? And so are you saying that people that have violent criminal pasts or terrorism-related backgrounds are just going to be given citizenship through this pathway?
Again, I want to go back to the reason for this legislation. It's because it was struck down as constitutional. The limits that were in it were against the Charter. We are here and we are putting limits on Canadian citizenship. We are trying to create a balance. People have to establish a connection, substantial connection to Canada with the number of days, but also proof of that. And again, Minister, we are here to right a wrong, and it is a right to a lot of people to have citizenship.
So, Minister, the courts did not tell you how to do this. They said you needed to do something, but the method that you're choosing to do, that is of your own choosing, and you are choosing to not put security in here. You also seem pretty confident that there's a lot of children in this. So does that mean you have numbers to prove that how many of these will be children versus adults?
Well, if you do the math, I mean, based on the years that we are using, the department has done the math, and a lot of them would have been born prior
15
to
seconds.
After 2009.
One last quick question. Can you assure Canadians that no terrorists will become citizens through this legislation?
Again, these are people who are already citizens. Have it not been for.
Thank you, Minister.
have
Thank
the
you,
right to be
Mr. Redekop.
citizens.
Thank you.
Chair,
We now go.
So I know that the courts told you that you had to change this law, but they didn't tell you how to change it. The how part is up to you, Minister, and the government. So my question to you is it reasonable, is it the right thing to do to not include a requirement for people to have one of our two Canadian official languages? Is that the right thing to do in your opinion in this bill? And I'm speaking specifically about people who are going to be over the age of 18 that will be affected by this bill.
So thank you for that question.
It's a quick answer is all we need.
Thank you for that question. Madam Chair, as I said, the purpose for the bill is to return citizenship to people who have lost it and should have had it already.
Madam Chair, okay, I'm just looking for a yes or no
Canadians who are
answer.
born citizens by descent are not required to demonstrate official language capacity.
Okay, and you believe that's reasonable. And do you think the same thing is true about those same citizens who are, or those same people who are over the age of 18 should get citizenship without a citizenship test? Just a yes or a no.
Well, citizens who are eligible, do not right now get citizenship tests. I wish they did. We should have civic classes.
Are you saying that people that are applying for citizenship do not have to do a citizenship test? Is that what you just said?
No. I'm saying Canadians. Canadians do not need to have.
So I'm saying people applying for citizenship through this pathway who are over the age of 18, do you think it's reasonable that they should not have to do a citizenship test?
So again, the answer, to be clear, Canadians who are born citizens by descent are not required.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you fully understand this, but the law that we are debating here, that we're talking about, is going to do, we have the option to create it however we want. And so we could choose to create it to say that these people have to have tests. So you're saying that you don't want that. That's not something that's important to you as a minister, as a government. The same with the security checks. You're saying that it's not important that if you have a person trying to attain citizenship through this process who's over 18, shouldn't have to do a security check?
So the bill is drafted
15
taking into
seconds.
consideration the Charter, the Constitution, but it's also consistent with the 2009 law as well.
So this is reasonable, so not having security checks, allowing terrorists into the country through this potentially is okay.
So that's exactly what I didn't say.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Mr. Redekop.
6 minutes.
We now go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Minister, welcome to the committee and thank you for being here. Before my colleague, Mr. Fragikastos' question, there was a question about comparing the 1,095 days for a permanent resident and the requirement in the law to become naturalized. Is there a difference? No, it's the same comparison. Because I thought that in the act to become a naturalized Canadian, when you're a permanent resident, you have to stay 1,095 days, but over 5 years. So there is a difference, Madam Minister. Yes, that's true. It's 1,095 days over 5 years. In C3, is it over a period of 5 years? No. So in 30 seconds, I got two different answers to a very simple question. Thank you, Madam Minister. So we're using the 1,095 days, but we are eliminating the 5-year limit for that, correct? Yes. Okay, so when S245 was studied here, there was a document that was tabled that said it was very difficult to really verify the 1,095 days of presence in Canada. What kind of justification will the department be asking for to make sure that that requirement has been met? It's a good question. I only have good questions. I will ask my officials to answer. We have already put in interim measures, and so it could be a certain number of documents, for example, proof of registration at a university, tax return, documents like a Hydro-Quebec bill, a passport. Different types of documents would be studied. Thank you. Madam Minister, does Canada collect data on when a person leaves Canada? No, I don't think so. But we're looking to work on that. But my question is simple. One moment, please.
Okay. Oui, le Canada. Oui.
Yes, Canada does. Canada does collect data on when people leave Canada? Yes. That's news to me. So when somebody leaves Canada, the Canadian government is aware that that person has left the country?
We do have a program called Entry-Exit. It is outside my remit, so I don't want to go into the details in terms of how it is implemented, but there are mechanisms in place in order to know when an individual is leaving a country.
OK. Je croyais que le Canada...
I see. I thought Canada did not collect that data. So if I went to the U.S., then people would be aware that I had left the country, but they wouldn't necessarily know when I came back. Okay, I'll go check that. Thank you. Now, let's talk about the figures. I'd like a bit of clarification. The Bloc has always been positive about lost Canadian legislation, but we need to clarify certain points. Some people have been raising 4 million people in the Canadian diaspora. Other people talk about 1 million people. The parliamentary budget officer talked about 150 to 150,000 people. So what are the department's figures? Because if we're going to put in place legislation that provides citizenship for people, we need to know what the real figures are. I can imagine that the department is able to tell us how many people will be affected by this law. Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. So this is what we know. Forgive me, Madam Minister, I just want a figure. You must know how many people will be affected by this. Okay, it's impossible to know exactly the figure. Okay, so it's impossible to know how many people will be affected. So, Madam Minister, you said there are people who are already in Canada who would benefit from C3. And so the housing crisis won't be worsened by this. I can imagine that you must have some figures about that. You must have data on how many people are already in Canada who will be affected by C3. Well, we have before us a bill. We have to enact a law. We are limited by the courts. But normally, you should know how many people will be affected. The individuals must show a substantial link with Canada. Thank you, Mr. Brunel-Duceppe. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to come back to the program you mentioned that looks at exits from the country. If I understand correctly, it was put in place in 2019-2020. That's what I found on the internet.
Responsible for, so it would be inappropriate for me to speak to the
Parfait.
details
Mais
of
ce
it.
qu'on me dit... Ce qu'on me dit, c'est que c'est depuis 2019.
Perfect, but I understand it's from 2019. So, if I understand correctly, before that date, Canada did not look at when people left the country. So, Madam Minister, before 2019, people who are affected by this bill, it'll be hard to show that they actually spent 1,095 days because before 2019, their exits from Canada were not recorded. So I'd encourage you to look at that. Countries like Denmark, Portugal, Spain, and Sweden included in their respective laws language requirements for citizenship by descent. You understand how important language is in Quebec. Do you think that Spain, Denmark, Sweden, etc., are on the wrong path when they require that people need to learn the official languages of those countries to become a citizen by descent? Thank you for the question. Language is very important. I completely agree with you. But in this case, we're dealing with Canadians who are born as citizens by descent. The same as people who are born in Canada. And for that reason, there's also a jurisdictional scan that we did with lots of other countries. And if you'd like, I can ask the officials to speak to this. No, that's fine. Your answer is acceptable to me, Madam Minister. Since I'm from the bloc, we have less time. Thank you, Madam Minister. I don't have enough time left to ask another question. Thank you, Mr. Brunel-Duceppe.